as we move into the third dimension, I just want to give a shout out to all those who are, checking email or doing something else. I really hope that you'll pay attention, especially to this idea of meaning, because this is kind of at the crux of empowerment that is so important, and yet so many leaders totally miss the boat on this. And so as we talk about meaning, I want you to think about what meaning means at your organization, and we're going to spend a fair amount of time discussing this idea. So, to define meaning, it's understanding the why behind the work that we're doing and knowing the purpose, and having people know their purpose. And so to do that, I want to give you just a brief example. So I imagine almost everybody, hopefully all of you, have seen a bolt, right? And the great thing about a bolt is you can use it in a lot of different ways, and it doesn't have a lot of meaning just alone, but bolts are used to make something, right? And actually, I want to share just a personal story. I just moved from Michigan, and I got to go see the Rouge factory in Dearborn, Michigan, which is a factory where they produce the F-150, which there are so many incredible statistics about the F-150 and the number that they produce. But it's also kind of like the starting place, right, of the assembly line. And what's really interesting about meaning is it could be really easy to focus on, if you were in an assembly line, the bolt that I put in. This is all I do. I put in this one bolt. That is my job. And if that's all I thought about, imagine how I don't know, tiring and how monotonous that would be. When in truth, if you talk to these assembly line workers, they know that they're making an F-150. They know that they're making a truck, right? Even if all I put in is this one bolt, there's meaning behind my work because I know the end goal. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people at this company, at Ford and in the Rouge factory, they actually think of it more of what that truck is going to do, right? It's going to make somebody really happy. It's going to be used to move things. It's going to be a really useful thing. So rather than just thinking about the bolt that I put in, I think about the meaning behind the work that I'm doing. And that is, at the heart of empowerment. So thinking about meaning for your employees, I want to share 4 ways that you can increase meaning. And this is before, of course, I'm going to share some specific strategies for that. So the first one is about relationships. That's one way we can think about meaning. And again, this kind of goes back to the idea. I've worked with a lot of healthcare professionals as well, and it's really easy to think about meaning in healthcare, right? Like, oh, I'm here to save lives. And we need to step away from that one-dimensional thinking of meaning. There's actually a lot of ways people find meaning, and you could probably name some, but you've never thought of them maybe in that way. And so the first one, of course, is relationships. So I find meaning with the people that I interact with. So that's the first one, is relationships. And how do I develop relationships? The second one is values. All of us have internal values, or things that drive us, right? It could be that I like doing good work. It could be that I have a really great sense of humor and I like to be a part of funny situations. It could be that I care about people. There's a lot of different values out there, but if we can tie the work that we're doing to values, then that will also increase an employee's meaning, and that's another way to find meaning. The third one is outcomes. So again, if you were to think of the hospital example, I'm saving lives. If you were to think about the Rouge factory in Dearborn, Michigan, you would actually think about, I'm producing trucks, right? I am out here producing trucks. And another example of this, and I was going to share this a little bit later, but I'll share it now. I worked with a company that sold mattresses. And it was really fascinating to me because when they brought employees in, they didn't spend their time, first off, telling them how much mattresses sold for. And they didn't talk to them about, ways to sell a mattress. For the first day and a half, all they do is they train them on the benefits of a good night's sleep. They share statistics about how it increases your longevity, how it will help you to be better at your job, how it's going to help you to, do X, Y, and Z. You won't be as angry. You're going to, you'll lose weight if you sleep better. All these, all this research around the benefits of a good night's sleep. That's what they're telling their salesmen. And then at the end, they don't say, now go out and share this information so you can sell a mattress. They tell them that our goal is to make people's lives better one night's sleep at a time. Think about how that changes the meaning in your work. You don't think about, I'm a mattress salesman, right? You think about, how am I going to change somebody's life? Oh, I'm going to help get them the right mattress. I'm not just going to sell the highest quality. I'm going to help them find the right mattress for them. And so that was kind of an interesting example of thinking about outcomes and how they can be related, and changing the definition of outcomes. I'm not just doing somebody's taxes, right? I'm helping give them time back in their life. Or I'm helping them to have more money to do the things that they want to do with their family, or to improve the lives of others. And then the last one is personal satisfaction. So where do I find my happiness? Where do I find the things that bring me happiness? And that could be another way to find meaning. Now, finding meaning for your employees, I want to give you a few specific examples. So the first one is, take that idea of why your company exists. Why do we do what we do? Is it just to make money, or are there other reasons? And I say brainstorm this. And when I say brainstorm, there's actually a fair amount of research out there that says that brainstorming is not just we sit at a table and we share ideas, that we should actually give people some time to think about this on their own. So if you were to go and ask your employees today why they come to work and why the company exists, what would they say? And give that opportunity to brainstorm and then come together and say, this is why we're here. This is our vision as an organization. The second one is to think about who's impacted by your work. It's not just the employees, it's not just the specific clients, but who is impacted by the work that we do. And that can help people to find more meaning. The next one is that we need to be authentic about our organization's role in society. Now, again, when we talk about brainstorming why our companies exist, we don't want to go out there and just kind of create meaning. Everything exists for a reason, right? If it didn't, it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be profitable. And so we need to think about what is our role in society and kind of connect that to the brainstorming why our company exists. And if we can connect those dots for people, then they'll have a greater sense of meaning. The next one is just to utilize those 4 ways to find meaning. Empowerment as itself is a framework. It's a way for you to think about, are my employees empowered? Are they performing at their highest level? The same thing with those 4 ways to find meaning for your employees. We need to utilize those as a framework for helping to develop meaning. And then finally, encourage employees to define their own meaning for their work. So we will have the reason that our company exists, right? We will have the reason that our organization does what it does. At least we should. And if we don't, we need to go out and find it. But we also need to help employees to define their own sense of meaning. And I want to share, a personal example. I actually did some work with a pretty large retailer. And they're a very large retailer that tries to do as much as they can for the lowest cost possible, so that they can turn around and sell products at the lowest cost possible. And what's interesting is when I started working with them, I really thought that's what I would hear. I'd hear a lot of skepticism. But one of the employees that I was working with, and it was kind of in one section, it was the logistics division of this company, and he said that he carried around a picture of his grandma in his wallet. And he said that the reason that he did that is because he didn't look at his job as just putting low-cost products out on the market. He said, I do this because my grandma can afford things that she never thought she'd be able to afford when she was, younger. But now she can afford things because our store exists, because we're able to put those products out on the market. And he said, whenever I get down or I feel like I'm having a rough experience at work, he said, I will take a second, I'll look at this picture of my grandma, and I'll get the meaning back in my work. Because I'm doing this so that people like my grandma can have these products at the cost that they can afford. And so it totally changes the perspective of the work that I'm doing. So letting employees define their own meaning can also be a great way and a great tool to increase meaning for your employees and to develop that part of empowerment.